Clear your desk by the end of the day, Clara. Human resources will handle the exit paperwork. The words on my computer screen blurred as I read them again. After 5 years of dedicated service to Apex Innovations, all I got was a cold, impersonal email. 3 days. That's all it had taken to bury my father. 3 days of approved bereavement leave. We need people who prioritize their work, the email continued, as if attending my father's funeral was an optional social event I had chosen over filing quarterly reports.
I sat back in my chair, the leather squeaking in the silence of the early morning. The Denver office was still mostly empty, the sky outside just beginning to brighten with dawn. I had come in early, eager to catch up on work after my brief absence. My name is Clara Hayes, and until approximately 2 minutes ago, I was the regional team lead of the highest performing division at Apex Innovations. At 38, I had built not just a career, but a team that felt like family.
We celebrated birthdays together, supported each other through difficult times, and pushed one another to excel professionally. I looked around at my workspace, the small succulent my team had gifted me last Christmas, the framed photo of us all at the company retreat, the handwritten thank you notes from team members I had mentored. 5 years of my life condensed into a few personal items that would fit in a cardboard box.
The termination notice attached to the email was signed by Marcus Thorne, my direct supervisor, who had personally approved my bereavement leave just last week. Failure to maintain adequate presence during critical operational periods, it read. My father's death apparently fell during one of these undefined critical periods. I didn't cry. I didn't slam my fist on the desk or storm into Marcus's office demanding an explanation. Instead, I pulled out my phone and took a photograph of the email, then forwarded it to my personal account.
Then I shut down my computer, stood up, and began methodically packing my things. By the time other employees started trickling in, my desk was half cleared. Sophie from accounting was the first to notice. "Clara, what's happening?" she asked, her eyes widening at the sight of my box. "I've been let go," I replied simply. "What? Why?" Apparently, taking approved bereavement leave to bury my father wasn't showing proper priority for my work. Sophie's face transformed from confusion to outrage. "That's not right. Have you talked to Vanessa? The regional manager should know about this." "No," I said, carefully wrapping my succulent in newspaper. "I'm not going to fight it, but I won't forget it either." By 9:30, all 7 of my core team members had gathered around my desk in silent solidarity. Noah, our logistics specialist, who rarely showed emotion, looked like he might punch a wall. Chloe, our client relations manager, was openly crying. Behind them stood Ben, Olivia, Isabel, Maya, and Anna, each with expressions ranging from disbelief to fury. "You can't leave," Chloe insisted. "The Wilson account renewal is next week. The Hernandez shipping contract is in negotiations. None of us knows the system like you do." I finished taping up my box. Marcus should have thought of that before he fired me for attending my father's funeral.
"I need everyone back at their desks," came a sharp voice from behind us. Marcus Thorne stood there, arms crossed, his thin face set in a disapproving frown. "We have deadlines to meet." No one moved. "Now," he added, his voice rising slightly. After a long moment, my team dispersed. Marcus approached me, lowering his voice. "This could have been handled with more discretion if you'd waited until the end of the day to pack up." I met his gaze steadily. "Like the discretion you showed in firing me via email after approving my bereavement leave?" His jaw tightened. "Business needs change rapidly. Apex needs people who understand that priorities shift. Your father's passing was unfortunate, but don't," I warned, my voice deadly quiet. Don't finish that sentence, Marcus.
The Human Resources Office was clinical. White walls, minimal decoration, and Eleanor Vance's sympathetic but practiced expression. "I'm sorry about this, Clara," she said, sliding separation papers across her desk. "And I'm very sorry about your father." I debated how much to share, then decided on the truth. I pulled out my phone and showed her the email. Eleanor's professional demeanor slipped, her eyes widening. "This is the actual termination notice? Just an email? No performance improvement plan?" "No, nothing." She frowned. "I need to verify some things with the legal department. Would you excuse me for a moment?" While Eleanor stepped out, I gazed through the window. From this floor, I could see the South Platte River winding through the city. My father had loved fishing that river. He taught me patience there. "The river moves, Clara girl," he'd say, "but the rocks stay steady. Be like the rocks." Eleanor returned 20 minutes later, her expression carefully neutral. "Unfortunately, Colorado is an at-will employment state," she began. "The company is within its rights to—" "I understand," I interrupted, signing the documents. "Apex can do whatever it wants, just like I can." Outside, I sat in the driver's seat, allowing myself a moment to process everything. My phone chimed with text messages. "Leo, this is wrong. What can we do?" "Chloe, are you okay? Can we meet up later?" "Noah, Marcus is a spineless jerk. The team is furious." These people weren't just colleagues. They were my professional family. I started my car, a plan already forming in my mind. I wouldn't fight Apex directly. The rock stays steady while the river rushes past. My phone rang. It was Hank Fleming, the CEO of Vertex Transport Systems, Apex's biggest competitor. It was time to return his call. The Vertex Transport Systems office was everything Apex wasn't. Hank Fleming welcomed me with a firm handshake. "I've been hoping you'd call." Word traveled fast in our industry. I filled him in, showing him Marcus's email. "That's not just bad management," Hank said, frowning. "That's inhumane." Hank leaned forward. "I'll be blunt, Clara. I want you on my team. The division director position is yours if you want it." My heart skipped. "What about my non-compete?" I asked. Hank smiled. "Our legal team has reviewed it. It's likely unenforceable. Plus, we'd cover any legal expenses." That evening, I met Chloe and Leo at a small pub. "How are you holding up?" Chloe asked. "I'm all right," I assured them. Leo snorted. "Marcus is a fool. The office is in chaos already. Nobody knows where the Henderson proposal files are stored." Chloe leaned forward. "It's more than that. Everyone's talking. People are furious about how you were treated. They're scared now. If they'd do this to you, their star team lead, what would they do to anyone else?" As we talked, more texts arrived from other team members, similar stories of disorganization and anger. "What will you do now?" Leo asked. I hesitated. "I've had an offer from Vertex." Their eyes widened. Leo's phone buzzed. He checked it and frowned. "Marcus is calling an emergency meeting tomorrow morning." "Saturday? The Wilson account review is due Monday," Chloe explained to me. "Nobody can find your analysis files." I smiled slightly. As I stood to leave, Leo caught my eye. "Clara, if you did go to Vertex, hypothetically speaking, would they be hiring?" I paused. "Hypothetically, yes. They're expanding rapidly." Saturday morning, I met with Vincent Torres, an employment lawyer. "This is textbook wrongful termination," Vincent said. "I'm not interested in suing," I clarified. "I just want to understand my options regarding my non-compete agreement." Vincent reviewed the document. "This is overly restrictive. In Colorado, it's questionable, especially given the circumstances."
Courts typically won't enforce non-competes when the employer acts in bad faith. I'd say proceed with caution, but don't let this prevent you from earning a living.
Monday morning, I called Hank Fleming. I accept your offer, I told him. But I have one condition. I want to build my own team. If my former colleagues from Apex apply to Vertex, I want them to receive fair consideration. Absolutely, Hank agreed. That afternoon, I signed my contract. The salary was 40% higher than at Apex. As I left, I checked my phone to find 7 new messages, one from each core member of my former team. They all wanted to meet for coffee privately.
Tuesday morning, I sat at a quiet corner table. One by one, my entire former team joined me. Apex is imploding, Noah said without preamble. The Wilson account is threatening to pull out, Chloe added. They all shared similar stories of chaos. We heard you've accepted a position at Vertex, Leo finally said. We want to come with you, Chloe stated firmly. The others nodded. We already have, Maya revealed, pulling out printed copies of confirmation emails, all 7 of us, yesterday. I couldn't hide my surprise. We trust you, Clara, Ann said simply. Where you go, we go.
The following Monday, my phone rang. It was Vanessa McCormick, Apex's regional manager. I've just received 7 resignation letters, all from your former team. Care to explain? I don't work for Apex anymore, I said. They're all going to Vertex, where you just started. This doesn't look coincidental. Perhaps you should ask Marcus why your top-performing team is leaving, I replied. She sighed. Look, Clara, I'm prepared to offer you your position back with a 10% raise and a formal apology. I appreciate the offer, Vanessa, but I've accepted a position elsewhere. We'll match it plus 15%. It's not about the money. Then what would it take, she asked, desperation in her voice. It would take time travel, I interrupted, and Apex showing basic human decency. A few days later, Eleanor from HR called. Marcus Thorne has been placed on administrative leave, she said quietly. The board of directors is involved now. By Friday, all 7 of my former team members had received and accepted offers from Vertex. We met for dinner to celebrate. The following week, I received a formal letter from Apex acknowledging my wrongful termination and offering a settlement. I accepted it. That same day, the Wilson account signed with Vertex. 3 months later, I stood at the front of Vertex's largest conference room, presenting our quarterly results. 30% growth in our division, 4 major client acquisitions, and costs reduced by 22%. After the meeting, my team was waiting with a cake. It's been exactly 3 months since we all jumped ship, Leo explained. We're celebrating our Independence Day. My phone buzzed with a news alert. Apex Innovations announces restructuring amid client exodus. 1 year after that fateful email, Vertex named me Executive Vice President of Operations. My division had become the company's crown jewel. Each of my 7 team members had been promoted as well. On the anniversary of my termination, I received a small package. Inside was my old succulent plant, with a note from Eleanor. Rescued this from your desk. Apex closes for good next week. That evening, I drove to the South Platte River. As I looked back, I realized my revenge hadn't been in destroying Apex. My revenge had been in building something better. The greatest revenge wasn't in tearing down what had hurt me, but in creating something that made the old system obsolete.